I got it.
Mass res is back, everyone.
Okay, now it works.
Oh my god. What the heck?
Well, it's back temporarily anyway. Hey everyone, it's Skiesti. So a new experimental creator card is here. If you don't know what that is, it's a fun patch put together by a few content creators. We had one before in the past, and this is what Mercies look like during it, but now we have a new one. I won't be looking at the entire patch, but I will be delving into Mercy's changes. I'll be going over my thoughts accompanied by some of my games that I had when trying her out. As I stated in the beginning, Mass Res is back. If you are an OG Mercy player, you know all about Mass Res. Or if you are a newer player that started playing after she got reworked, then you've probably at least heard of Mass Res. Somehow, somewhere. With that said, if you never had the chance to play Mercy before Valkyrie when she had Mass Res, now is your chance! Resurrect is now back as Mercy's ultimate ability. Just like before, you can resurrect up to 5 people at once, so all of your teammates. The max range of Rez has now increased from 5 to 8 meters, and yes, that does mean that you can still super jump during resurrection, and yes, it is easier to do. Anyone in this 8-meter range will be brought back to life with full health. It doesn't state this in the patch notes, but line of sight is required. Valkyrie is no longer her ultimate ability and has been moved to her ability 2 or E. Valkyrie is not a chain anymore and does not attach to additional allies. The beam is a single target. Her healing is boosted from 55 to 70 HP per second when Valkyrie is activated and lasts for 3 seconds. You still have infinite ammo, and you also still have infinite beam range and most of the other things that came with Valkyrie as an ultimate. The cooldown on Valkyrie as an ability is 20 seconds. And in addition, her movement speed has been decreased from what it was when it was her ultimate, so you move a little bit slower than you're used to. Okay. Let's move on to my thoughts on her experimental changes. Resurrection on an ultimate now feels... the way that they did it makes it feel like a third ability rather than an ultimate. I found myself using it for tempo more than anything, so I was rezzing up one person normally to keep momentum on our side while occasionally being able to get off 2-man rezzes. The ult charge time felt way too slow, and I either never had it when I needed it, or never really had the opportunity to even use it some games. The ult charge time being slow was the reason that I was wary of doing tempo reses, but also found that that ended up being where it was the most impactful and where you had the highest chance of surviving. It honestly feels way too punishing with the restrictions that they gave it, and I'll mention a way to maybe fix that later on. As well, there are some bugs, unfortunately, with line of sight and the respawn timer. Line of sight felt so picky that it really didn't feel that great to play with. For example, in this clip here, I had a 2-man res, but only one person ended up getting res despite them clearly being next to each other. And in addition, apparently if you res someone and their respawn timer is like up in the middle of it, they won't be resed. Players have been asking for Mercy to have more healing, and Valkyrie on E was the offered solution to this in the experimental with its burst of healing. Personally, I don't think that healing is where her usefulness lies. It lies in damage boost mainly, and I don't really think that Mercy's healing needs to be adjusted, but this did come in handy. Valk as an ability gives Mercy a lot of survivability and movement options. She's able to use it for so many things, including extending her beam to heal or damage boost targets that are going too deep. So for example, there were moments where, you know, I was like pocketing Genji blades, or you know, people who are trying to back up when they go too far and being able to help them from a safe distance without putting myself in danger, and I really enjoyed that. You're able to save yourself or reposition with her freeform flight, which felt really freeing, felt really nice. You're able to come back into fights faster, especially with the extended range on GA in Valk. That was great. You could also combo the Valk ability with REZ Q to survive harder resurrections. And in general, just using the ability for additional movement and more mobility options alongside Guardian Angel and Saber Jump, it makes for so many different movement options. It felt so good to have so many different movement tools. It also felt like I had more to do in fights since I was able to utilize Valk in different ways. It felt great to have a second ability that felt very active, rather than Resurrect that I may or may not be able to use at the time. It felt more like I was really playing the game and utilizing her full movement mobility rather than playing like cover to cover. And obviously you're still playing safely and cover to cover, but it's not in the same way. If you play the experimental, you'll definitely understand what I'm talking about there. However, she did feel a little clunky and slow sometimes, most notably when using Valkyrie because of the reduced movement going in and then out of it. It just felt a little bit weird there. And I have to say, hearing Mercy's ultimate voice line every time I activated her E and not when I was using Resurrection felt really awkward. You know, this thing's got a 20-second cooldown, and so every 20 seconds you're hearing "Heroes Never Die," and it's like so weird. And then when she's rezzing, there's just nothing. It's dead silent. It's just so awkward. Obviously not, you know, game-changing, but I just thought that it was kind of funny. So like I sort of mentioned, I do have a few changes that I'd like to see for both Valkyrie and Resurrection. For Valkyrie as an ability, it'd be nice to either revert the reduced movement since it feels really clunky and slow, and I assume this attributes to how weird it feels when Valk activates and then deactivates. Or maybe extend the time in Valk to 5 seconds or even 4. 4 might even just feel better. And then for Resurrection as an ultimate, maybe make the res instant. Honestly, with the cast time that it has right now, it feels like you're a sitting duck when you ult. Instant res would help her survive better and allow for more than just tempo reses or more than just very frequent 1-man or 2-man reses. Because spending 1.5 or 2 minutes trying to build up what should be an ultimate ability and then using it in the same way as you did when it was a 30-second cooldown ability, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like an ultimate. And obviously, you can get off those mass reses. It's not impossible, it's just difficult. And more often than not, you'll find yourself either just using the ultimate for tempo, or you won't use it at all, waiting for that big mass res moment. And all of that attributes to it just feeling like a third ability, even though it's supposed to be an ultimate. So instant res would be really good for that, and also make her ult charge faster. It felt like it took forever to get her ultimate, and then forever to actually be able to use it again in some cases. I don't claim to know anything about balancing, but when I was talking about it on stream and having discussions with you guys, these are things that everyone kind of felt seemed fair to change. As someone who, you know, did play OG Mercy, and even if I didn't and I was trying Mass Res for the first time, it was fun to play Mass Res Mercy again, despite, you know, how buggy it felt and how kind of clunky it was. Utilizing Valkyrie as an ability felt really cool, and getting off Valk ability res Q combos felt great. But overall, REZ just kind of felt like a third ability with a really long cooldown. I will say that I much prefer Valkyrie as her ultimate and have a renewed appreciation for it after being able to play with Mercy's older ultimate again. I think there's a lot of potential in this version of Mercy, and at the very least, it was enjoyable to see Mercy get a more fun change this time around compared to what was done for her during the April Fool's patch or last experimental card, which the last one just felt too serious. So what did you think of the Mercy changes? Do you prefer her in the experimental, or how she is in the live game? Resurrection as an ultimate, or Valkyrie as an ultimate? I would love to hear from you guys. Also, please, Blizzard, make it so that Mercy's beam doesn't break when she Valks. We see it in this experimental card, so we definitely have the means to do it. There is no reason why it shouldn't be in live. Please, please, it's such a quality of life change. Give it this one thing, please. We all want it. Please. Please, please. No more Valk beam disconnects. Please, thank you. Anyway, that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
That's good,